The morning sun painted the quiet streets of Istanbul with a warm golden glow. Adrian stepped out of a small neighborhood cafe, holding a cup of fresh coffee as the city slowly came to life around him. He had arrived only a few weeks earlier to work on a new television project, hoping that the change of scenery would inspire both his career and his heart. Across the street, Alara carefully arranged fresh flowers outside a charming bookstore owned by her aunt. Every morning she placed colorful bouquets near the entrance, believing that beautiful flowers welcomed beautiful stories. People often stopped just to admire the display before walking inside to browse the shelves. As Adrian crossed the street, a gentle breeze carried a few flower petals into the air. One bouquet tipped over before Alara could catch it. Adrian reacted quickly, picking it up before it touched the ground. "I think these belong here," he said with a warm smile. Alara laughed softly. "Thank you. The wind likes to test my decorating skills. It certainly keeps things interesting." Their conversation lasted only a minute, yet both walked away feeling strangely happier than before. Over the following days, Adrian found himself choosing the same cafe every morning. It wasn't only because of the excellent coffee. He enjoyed watching the bookstore come alive and exchanging a few friendly words with Alara before beginning his busy schedule. They discovered unexpected similarities. Both loved classic films, quiet evenings, handwritten letters, and peaceful walks beside the Bosphorus. They also shared a belief that kindness could change someone's entire day. One afternoon, heavy rain surprised everyone in the neighborhood. Customers rushed inside nearby shops while Adrian stood beneath the cafe's small awning, waiting for the storm to pass. Alara appeared at the bookstore entrance holding an extra umbrella. "You'll be waiting forever if you stay there," she called. Adrian smiled. "Is that an invitation?" "I suppose it is." They walked together through the rain, laughing whenever passing cars splashed water onto the sidewalks. Instead of finding shelter immediately, they enjoyed the unexpected adventure. When they reached a quiet park, the rain began to slow. Tiny drops rested on the green leaves while birds slowly returned to the trees. "It's beautiful after the rain," Alara whispered. "I think beautiful moments are often unexpected," Adrian replied. She looked at him for a moment before smiling again. Over the next few weeks, friendship grew naturally between them. Adrian occasionally visited the bookstore after filming, helping organize new arrivals or recommending novels to customers. Alara enjoyed hearing stories from the television set, although Adrian preferred talking about ordinary life instead of work. One evening, they attended a neighborhood art exhibition featuring young local painters. Each painting told a different story: hope, dreams, friendship, family, and new beginnings. Alara paused in front of one canvas showing two people walking along a quiet shoreline during sunset. "I like this one," she said. "Why?" "It reminds me that the best journeys are shared." Adrian nodded thoughtfully. "Maybe that's why every great story has someone to walk beside." The artist overheard them and smiled. "You both understood exactly what I wanted this painting to say." As they left the gallery, the streets sparkled beneath old-fashioned lanterns. Musicians performed gentle melodies in the square while families enjoyed the peaceful evening together. Without planning it, Adrian and Alara wandered through the market, tasting traditional desserts and listening to street performers. Time seemed to move more slowly whenever they were together. Days later, Adrian received exciting news. His production company wanted him to travel abroad for several months to begin another project. Everyone congratulated him. Everyone except Adrian himself. For the first time in years, success didn't feel complete. That evening, he visited the bookstore just before closing time. "I may have to leave soon," he said quietly. Alara closed the book she had been reading. "For how long?" "Several months." A brief silence followed. "I'm happy for you," she finally said. "You don't sound convinced." "I am happy." I just wish good friends didn't have to live in different places. Her words stayed with Adrian long after he returned home. The following morning, he walked alone along the Bosphorus, thinking about everything that had happened during the past month. He realized that some people enter our lives quietly but leave a lasting impression. Later that afternoon, Alara found a small envelope waiting at the bookstore. Inside was a handwritten note. Thank you for reminding me that life's greatest moments aren't always found on a film set. Sometimes they're waiting in a little bookstore filled with flowers. She smiled as she folded the letter carefully. Just then, Adrian appeared at the doorway. I almost forgot something, he said. What was that? He looked around the bookstore before meeting her eyes. I forgot to ask if you'd like to have dinner tomorrow evening. Alara laughed softly. I was beginning to wonder how long it would take. The two of them stepped outside together as the evening sky turned shades of orange and pink. Neither knew what the future would bring, but both felt that a wonderful new chapter had quietly begun. The following evening arrived with a cool breeze drifting through the streets of Istanbul. Adrian stood outside the bookstore holding a small bouquet of white daisies. He remembered Alara once mentioning that she preferred simple flowers because they reminded her that beauty did not always need to be extraordinary to be meaningful. When Alara stepped outside and noticed the flowers, her smile appeared before she even spoke. You remembered, she said. I pay attention, Adrian replied. They began walking through the old streets, choosing no particular destination. The city glowed beneath strings of warm lights, and the sounds of distant musicians blended with cheerful conversations from nearby cafes. Instead of visiting an expensive restaurant, Adrian suggested a small family-owned place overlooking the Bosphorus. The owner greeted them warmly and recommended traditional dishes prepared from recipes that had been passed down through generations.
During dinner they talked about childhood dreams.
When I was little, Alara said, I wanted to become a writer. What stopped you? I never believed my stories were good enough. Adrian smiled gently. The best stories don't need to be perfect. They only need to be honest. She looked thoughtful. Maybe one day I'll write one. I hope I'm the first person who gets to read it. After dinner they continued walking beside the water. Boats crossed the shimmering surface while the moon reflected across gentle waves. I've traveled to many cities, Adrian admitted, but I've never felt as peaceful as I do here. Perhaps it isn't the city. What do you mean? Sometimes a place becomes special because of the people we meet there. Adrian quietly agreed. The next morning Adrian returned to filming. The production schedule became increasingly demanding, leaving little free time. Even so, he found a few minutes every day to visit the bookstore. Sometimes he brought coffee. Sometimes he brought pastries. Sometimes he brought nothing except a smile. Alara appreciated each visit equally. One weekend the neighborhood organized a charity book fair to raise money for children's libraries. Volunteers decorated colorful booths while musicians performed throughout the square. Adrian immediately offered to help. Together they arranged books, welcomed visitors, and encouraged children to discover new adventures through reading. A young boy approached their table carrying an old adventure novel. I don't have enough money, he whispered. Without saying anything, Adrian quietly paid for the book. The boy's eyes filled with happiness. Thank you. As he ran toward his mother, Alara turned to Adrian. You didn't have to do that. I know. Then why did you? Because every child deserves a story that makes them dream. Alara admired not the gift itself but the kindness behind it. Later that afternoon an elderly woman approached their booth. I've been watching you two all day, she said with a warm smile. You remind me of my husband and me when we were young. We always believed friendship is the strongest foundation for love. Before either of them could answer, she wished them happiness and continued walking. Neither Adrian nor Alara spoke for several moments. Finally, Alara laughed softly. People certainly enjoy making assumptions. They do. But I don't completely mind this one. Adrian smiled. Neither do I. Days passed peacefully until Adrian received confirmation of his departure date. He would leave in only 2 weeks. The news weighed heavily on both of them, though neither wanted to let sadness overshadow the time they still had together. Instead, they decided to create a new memory every day. One evening they watched the sunset from a quiet hill overlooking the city. Another day they explored hidden streets filled with local artists and musicians. They visited museums, small bakeries, peaceful gardens, and places that tourists rarely discovered. Each moment became another page in a story neither wanted to end. One afternoon rain began falling once again. Instead of searching for shelter, they walked through the park exactly as they had on the day they first shared an umbrella. This feels familiar, Adrian said. It does. Only one thing is different. What? This time I don't want the walk to end. Alara stopped beside a large tree. Neither do I. She reached into her bag and handed Adrian a small notebook with a blue cover. I started writing again. You did? Yes. You inspired me. He carefully opened the first page. Written neatly across the top were the words. Every unforgettable journey begins with one unexpected meeting. Adrian closed the notebook carefully. This is wonderful. It's only the beginning. The beginning is often the hardest part. She smiled. Then I suppose I've already taken the first step. As evening settled over the city, they walked slowly toward the bookstore. Neither knew what the coming weeks would bring, but one thing had become certain. Their friendship had grown into something deeper, built not on grand promises or dramatic moments, but on kindness, trust, laughter, and the quiet joy of sharing ordinary days together. Standing beneath the glowing lights outside the bookstore, Adrian looked at Alara and realized that some of life's greatest gifts arrive without warning. The challenge now would be discovering whether that growing connection was strong enough to overcome the distance that soon awaited them.